I think that's probably just a me problem, but like the issue is like having to be available,
Mm.
but then also having your life, right? It's like things you need to do, or like I do feel like sometimes I get into the habit of like I'm gonna stay home for like because I want to be available, right? I want to be leaving somewhere right away. And you said that like bring a bag with everything that you need, and wherever you are, you basically could just leave to the whatever booking you have, right? And I never thought about doing that because I always felt like I need to, like I don't know, like prepare myself fully at home and like, be completely ready and then go there. But actually, I don't necessarily have to. Like I can bring that stuff with me and then just leave. And obviously, you have to shower and everything. But like that would be, I feel like that would actually work. And I did not think about that.
You can also, if it's an in-call, right? Like if you book a hotel, and we'll talk about how you do that in the Q&A section. I mean, there's showers there, so you could get there and shower. You can even do it with the client if you're really pressed for time. And I just tell clients, like if a client has contacted me wanting to meet me short notice, I will say to them, I'm happy to meet you. I can be there in an hour. However, I'm coming from a social event. So I'm not going to be all glammed up. I'm going to be dressed casually. I'll need to use the bathroom for 5 minutes to freshen up. Like no
That's
client is going to say, oh, I don't want to see you for that. They're just happy to be seeing you at such short notice.
that is clever. Thank you very much. I'm gonna write that down right now.
That's cool.
Okay.
And then look, if it is such a big deal to them that they do want to see you super glammed up for some reason, then like fine, they'll just go elsewhere. But I can tell you now, my whole career, I've never had a client say, "Oh no, I don't want to see you." In fact, they tend to prefer the casual look. Um,
That is true. Yes.
and freshening up before the booking in the bathroom is totally reasonable. And I just, I don't draw it out. I don't make them feel like I'm like taking up their time that they've booked with me doing that. But at the same time, I have told them in advance. So
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
with the schedule, it isn't just you. It is a hard part of the job. The reality is, escorting is to an extent an on call job. It is like there is no timetable. You're not just walking in, sitting somewhere. Sugar daddies are a bit more prepared, although they can be short notice as well, but they are a bit more planned because they're not like purchasing a service. The interaction is more that they're kind of meeting up with somebody for like a date, but it's paid. So there's a bit more planning. Um, what I say to people is firstly, you have to have a life. Only you can decide what that balance looks like. And it doesn't have to be the same all the time. If you can, in the first 6 to 12 months of escorting, really choose to prioritize the job, you will find that you'll see more clients, you'll build up a base of regular clients, and then you'll be able to pull back that availability.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
you can always make that decision for yourself, and that looks different for everybody. Simultaneously, as we work on your marketing and we make your ad better and we make the experience more desirable, clients will be more flexible because they'll see it and they'll want to see you so badly, as opposed to I want to book an escort and have an experience now. Who's available? That's kind of what's happening with short notice. Like, okay, I want to like scratch this itch in 2 hours. I'm going to text 10 escorts, which is what they do. And then of whoever replies, I'll pick the one who I like the most slash is the easiest to deal with. That's kind of what happens.
Hmm.
But when you start attracting a client base that is not looking to scratch an itch now, they're looking for an experience that is really valuable and meaningful to them. They will be more likely to go, oh, sure, I might have to wait a day for her or 2 days, but I'm going to be spending like $1,000 on this. And this is a really big deal to me. So I'm willing to do that. So it's a combination of lots of things coming together. And always a little bit of trial and error, right? And if you've got and I don't know how pre-planned your schedule is, but if that's a little bit short notice too, then it's
At,
understandable
at the
that would be
moment, at the
tricky.
moment, I currently have like all of my until the end of August. So like I know I know it about like a month, 2 months in advance.
Okay. What we'll also talk about is some strategies that you can use to take advantage of the short notice element of working, but with you having notice. So, for example, something that I have seen girls do that's quite successful. Have you heard of touring before? Do you know what that is?
When you go like to a different city, right?
Yeah, and you sit there for work. You can
Yeah.
do a tour, so to speak, in your hometown. You can literally decide, okay, I'm going to take out this like 1 or 2 days a week. I'm going to pre-book a place, an in-call, and I'm going to be there waiting. I'm going to post on my ad, I'm available today. I'm going to put like a notification on Twitter. I'm going to text all my regulars. And you treat it like a mini tour. And you're actually sitting there knowing I've blocked out these 2 days for short notice work. And if it's on your profile, you boost your ads if you're on platforms that allow you to do that. You announce it on Twitter. You will get guys who text you, like coming and seeing you. And then once a client sees you once, they're so much more likely to organize if they like you. You've probably already experienced that yourself.
Yes, I have.
Cool. So that's a good way to go, look, I can't just like, take a bag with me and leave my friends and do this, do that. Like I don't want to, it's not practical, it's not enjoyable. But what I can do is recognize that in this startup period of my career, I know the behavior, right? Like we know how they act. We know they want short notice. So rather than fight against it, why don't we just find a way to make it work for us? Block out 2 days where you go, these are my short notice days. Advertise it, sit there, take all the bookings, you will get work. And then for the rest of the week, you can be way more lax. And if you get into a pattern of that, clients will like start to see it as well. Excuse me, they'll come back. And again, you do that for 6 months and you'll find that after that, you've got a book of 20, 30 clients that regularly come to see you, and it just becomes less and less necessary.
Okay.
Like you're in one of the busiest cities in the world.
That's very true.
It's not going to be the case that you're sitting there for 2 days and there's nobody who's interested in what you're offering.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. I noticed that you mentioned on charging the client for in-call. If you were doing you were sitting there for 2 days, you covered the cost, knowing that you're going to get an abundance of bookings and you didn't pass on the cost, you would also get more work. I'll talk to you a little bit about that, charging clients for in-calls when we get to it and I find out a bit more about it. But you wouldn't be having to pass that on because you'd be like, well, like I'm sitting here, I'm probably going to get 10 bookings over the next 2 days. It's just a part of my cost base.
Okay.
It's just finding a balance. The reality is there are a lot of people who want short notice. That's how it works. We all don't want short notice. Okay, can we find a way to maximize the fact that we know they want short notice and then use that to our advantage long term? Once you get a client in the door once, it is so much easier to get them to come back if you do a good job. And they will work with you far more readily. And if you were doing this like weekly and you had like your set in-call days, like clients have itches that they want to scratch, but once they find somebody good and they know, okay, every Thursday is going to be like here in this place, you make it easy for them as well.
If you want to learn more escorting tips, just click the link below this video.